Counsel Robert Mueller has reportedly assembled a grand jury to investigate Russia's interference in the 2016 election. So what does this mean for the investigation, and how long will it last? Joining us now, political analyst Kirsten Haglund and criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor David Bruno. Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, right? David, I want to begin with you. If you could use your experience here and explain the significance of Mueller tapping the grand jury, what does it say specifically about the state of the investigation? Where are we at?
Yeah, well, a federal grand jury is 23 people that hear testimony. And the fact is, this is normal. And actually, I expect that this would have been done much sooner. Mueller was appointed on May 17th, which is almost 3 months ago. And it's quite surprising to me that he didn't have this tool up to this date, because it's a powerful tool. It's a critical tool. It's #1 tool in the toolbox for prosecutors.
Right. This is how they compel testimony. They get records and the like. Kirsten, President Trump's lawyer, Ty Cobb, he basically said, we look forward to cooperating. We hope this will accelerate the investigation. He didn't call for Mueller's firing or even call the investigation a political witch hunt. This is a change of tone. Why do you think it is?
Well, obviously, this is coming from the president's lawyer, not necessarily Donald Trump himself, who might say something different on Twitter. We're not sure about that yet. But it definitely is. And I think that they're doing a good job and making a good shift in tone, if that is indeed what it is, organizationally. Because, President Trump has to retain a lot of his political capital in order to get the rest of his agenda through Congress. Obviously, we have tax reform that's highly anticipated. Also, this comes on the eve of him signing that sanctions bill with Russia and then going back and saying he wasn't very happy about it. So he has to make sure and be very aware of the political optics here. And I think his whole administration is trying to make sure that they appear, that they're trying to let this go on as independently as possible.
Right. And David, I'm curious about how widespread this investigation is. President Trump's personal lawyer, John Dowd, he said they have no reason to believe the president himself is under investigation. But doesn't Mueller's latest moves indicate this is going to be a very widespread investigation looking into any and everything, whether it's personal tax records, business dealings? Should Trump and his legal team, should they be worried?
Yeah, it seems like it is a wide investigation. I mean, the order itself that gave him this power, gave him the power to investigate any links or coordination between the Russian government and individuals associated with the campaign. So that's the start. And yes, I think there are reports that there have been subpoenas related to the junior meeting. And financial records are fair game as well, because when we talk about subpoenas, that is what subpoenas are for. They're used to get these records, including financial records.
Right. Kirsten, how widespread do you think this investigation is at this point?
Well, we don't know what we don't know, right? And so much of this investigation is secret and remains secret, because that's, especially now that he is impaneling this grand jury, that's the nature of this grand jury, is that it is secretive. What is really interesting is to see the Senate's response, and that there are about 4 senators, both Republicans and Democrats right now, who have convened around legislation saying we need to make sure that Robert Mueller is able to be as independent as possible, introducing some legislation that says that the president can't necessarily just fire Mueller without cause. So that is interesting to see some of the politics play out on the Hill around this. But I think that the administration is doing the right thing and trying to let it play out and keep a hands-off approach. And we should all be thankful that we have a system of law in this government that goes after these things and makes sure that Russia is not improperly, and negatively affecting our elections.
It's been a bipartisan effort in Congress to make sure that this investigation can go forward, which might explain some of the change of tone we were talking about a little bit earlier. I want to talk about, David, the legal team that Robert Mueller has assembled here. There's 16 members, most or half of them. They made political donations to Democrats, including Hillary Clinton as well as Obama. What do you make of that? Is there conflicts of interest here?
Well, that's certainly an argument to be made, but these attorneys are members of the bar. They are objective. They're supposed to be objective, and I hope they will be objective. Just one last point here as we're winding down. Donald Trump himself could be subpoenaed to testify before this grand jury, and it would be the second sitting president in history to do so, and the first was Bill Clinton. And in that grand jury testimony, he actually perjured himself, which led to impeachment proceedings. So an interesting point as to who's going to be dragged in, because certainly he has subpoena power compel testimony.
Yeah, and how big of a deal this really is. David, Kirsten, happy Friday, and thank you for your time.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.
And you hope this doesn't take, obviously, attention away from the agenda, the legislative agenda, but
What
we
they
know
want
it
to
will.
get done for the American people.
Yeah, exactly.